boyfriend didn't celebrate my 1 year of sobriety with me. Hi, I didn't exactly know what subreddit to post this on, but basically it was my 1 year yesterday of being sober. I had been telling my boyfriend for weeks that my 1 year was coming up, and he went to his friend's party and got drunk. I feel like I shouldn't be mad, but I am. You are allowed to feel emotions. No one can tell you what you can and cannot feel. The issue is what you want to do as a result of the emotions. For example, it's okay to feel mad at him, but not okay to take all his money and car and ruin his reputation with everyone he knows. You should absolutely have a conversation with him about how you feel and what kind of expectations you have for him in a relationship with you. You may also want to think about what you need in a relationship and what you have in your current relationship. Congratulations on 1 year. TBH, I would be mad at him too. Seems pretty selfish going out and getting drunk when you've worked so hard to remain sober. Setting aside the part where he didn't celebrate something that's important to you, he just seems like the kind of person a recovering alcoholic shouldn't be associating with. If you date someone that likes to party hard and get wasted, you're going to stand a much higher chance of falling back into old habits. Maybe you're thinking it's solely on you to control yourself and not be tempted, but part of recovery is getting rid of bad influences and things that will trigger you to drink. If you're trying to stay sober and he's out getting drunk, this isn't going to work. It's almost as if he was sending you an "I don't give a damn" message. You can do a lot better. I mean, his actions speak literally volumes. He ditched you on your sober birthday to get drunk. Like, does this guy give a shit about you at all? Wife got in massive debt behind my back. I was notified of a potential data breach at an organization I am affiliated with, so I ran a credit check and found $65,000 of credit card debt attached to my name. Incredulous, I disputed that the accounts were mine before mentioning the obviously incorrect information to my wife, only to have her come clean. She told me that she was trying to take care of it herself and that she wasn't aware it had grown as big as it did. She claims it was all small stuff, Target, Amazon, etc., but a quick review of statement summaries, not the individual transactions, just month-by-month balance, showed multiple months where the balance went up by $4,000 or more. We are getting the detailed statements sent to us by the CC company, and I am very concerned about what I will see. I don't think she's into anything weird or sketchy, but I pay for a lot of groceries and other things out of my accounts, so I can't even fathom how she was able to spend that amount of money. Here's the thing, she has some stocks and can afford to pay it all off, which she agreed to do immediately. She agreed to cut up the cards and do a joint account with me. But I still can't get over this. We have always kept separate banking accounts, with a couple joint checking/savings accounts to handle bills. I have asked her questions about her finances in the past, and she has always been cagey. I just figured she likes to manage her own spending, and I was okay with that. I never envisioned that this was the case. I am lucky as fuck that she can afford to pay this off. And we had a long discussion about the spending, and I told her that I was upset and hurt and angry. It's a few hours later, she's working in the other room, and I just feel sick. Has anyone gone through anything similar? How did you move past it with your spouse? My wife and I have been together for about a decade and have kids, so I am not looking to get a divorce. I just need help putting this in perspective and seeing if and how I can move on. My ex-wife was bad with money. She seemed to know more about making money than I did. So I let her handle our finances. We did everything joint. After years of good investments, we should have had hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I started getting calls from the bank about missed payments. At first I let her handle it. She claimed it was simple mistake on her part, but she'd fix it. In the end, she'd spent everything we had and racked up a six-figure debt. It was joint, so her debt was my debt. My credit score was in the low 300s. Credit score is 300 to 900, where higher is better. Took me 3 years to rebuild my credit score. Don't set up joint accounts with her. Anyone I'm with now has to agree to us having separate accounts, and the only joint account is for shared bills. Like your wife, my ex-wife wasn't buying massively expensive items. She could just spend hundreds of small amounts. Additionally, she'd never pay off anything. Making the minimum on a credit card and just increasing her credit limit resulted in her paying more in interest than the initial purchase. For example, I haggled a $2,000 necklace down to $1,200. She paid for it with a store credit card in 2008. I assumed she would pay the card off before it incurred interest. This is what I do. She never paid off that card and we separated in 2015. By that point the initial purchase plus interest was $4,100. In other words, $1,200 for the necklace plus $2,900 in interest. The interest was more than the retail price of the necklace. You say she has stock and can afford to pay it off. I do believe that only after it's paid off. Financial infidelity is a real thing. She broke your trust and it will take a lot of work to earn it back. Glad to hear she can fix it with her stocks, but moving forward you're going to have to be more involved in her finances. Can't offer advice on the relationship aspect, but you should definitely post on r/personal finance to get a solid understanding of any tax implications of a stock sale to pay off this debt. I, 26F, told my husband, 26 meters, that I won't be his wife if he got a sex change, and now he's hurt and angry at me for it. So a few days ago, my husband, 26 meters, and I, 26F, were having a late night chat, sort of what we have often, and he asked me a question: "Darling, would you still be with me and be attracted to me if I had a sex change?" I said no, and he took it very personally and felt really hurt. He said things like, "I thought you loved me for me and not for my looks and my sex." He terribly misunderstood what I said and felt really hurt. What I meant was that if my husband ever got a sex change, I would still really love him and I would support him forever, but I would not be attracted to him and I probably wouldn't be with him as his wife. That's just my opinion and preference and it makes sense to me. But for my husband, it apparently was something wrong said by me. He thought that I don't actually like him, and if he ever changes even a little bit, I will leave him for good and never look at him again. I tried to convince him that it's not true, but he refuses to listen for some reason. Even after a few days have passed, he's still kinda angry at me, and whenever he looks at me, he makes that sad face to make me feel like he's really hurt. What do I do now to make him feel better? I'd ask your husband if he'd stay with you and be attracted to you if you got a sex chance, including the top and bottom surgery. Would he still be your husband? It's ultimately the same thing. Unless he is also trying to figure out his sexuality. I've been with my husband 20 years and our bodies have changed over that time. That's normal. However, expecting to change your sex and with it your partner's sexuality is a different ball game. I'm not attracted to women. If my husband wanted to be a woman, I'd love the memory of who he was and hopefully support the person he is. But I would never be sexually attracted to a woman. And that's okay. Your husband is being ridiculous. I don't think you need to do anything to make him feel better. He's lying to himself if he doesn't think romantic attraction involves physical attraction, and that people have distinct preferences for physical attraction. You gave an honest and kind answer. His response is over the top. Honest question: do you think your husband is planning a gender transition, and that this strong emotional reaction is coming out of the fact that he is having a hard time coping with the loss of you as his wife if he does transition? I think what's important here would be to kind of look into why he would ask that question and why he got so upset with your answer. Yeah, sometimes we ask our spouses silly questions for fun, like, would you still love me if I never shaved again? But this sex change thing might run a bit deeper here, who knows? I once did this with an old boyfriend. I was seriously questioning my gender and asked him if we would still be together if I was a boy. He said that while I would still be a friend he'd like to spend time with, he wouldn't date me. I was pretty upset about it until my own mother said that it was in no way a fair question. He was not gay, and being upset by that fact was me trying to have my cake and eat it too. If I chosen to transition before we had started dating and then asked him out and he said no because he wasn't gay, I wouldn't have any grounds to blame him for that. It really isn't a fair question, and you need to tell your husband that while you love him, if he was a woman, he wouldn't be your wife. Because you're not gay. It's unreasonable expect you to be.